Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for High Velocity Radio.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of High Velocity Radio, and this is going to be a good one. Today we have with us Teresa Ging, and she's with Sugar Bliss. Welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
I'm so excited to learn more about what you're up to. Tell us about Sugar Bliss. How are you serving folks?
We are located in downtown Chicago. We have a retail store on Wabash, which is at the Palmer House Hilton. I've been in business for about 13 years. We do everything from cupcakes to cake pops, French macaroons, cookies, brownies, gluten-free, vegan. We do a lot of different baked options. We also ship nationwide. I started the business about 13 years ago. I was in finance. I actually grew up in Texas, moved here for college, went to University of Chicago, studied in econ and statistics, graduated in 2000, and then I went on to do finance for about 6 years. So I did 6 years of finance, including investment banking, equity research, private equity. And then after 6 years, decided to take a different path. I left the finance industry, went to pastry school in Paris for about 3 months, got my pastry certificate, and then came back to Chicago, started looking at retail spaces, developing recipes, just brainstorming the idea of opening the first cupcake bakery in downtown Chicago. So I opened the first store in 2009 and then the second store in 2016. So we've been around for almost 13 years.
Now, what was it like being someone with a math background and understanding, you must have understood kind of the risk of a restaurant as a whole, and then specifically in pastry. Was this something as a child you dreamt of? Like, what was kind of the catalyst that would have you change careers so dramatically?
Yeah, so a lot of people always ask me, are these your grandmother's recipes? And being Asian American, I didn't grow up on a lot of sweets. So, in fact, I probably didn't really eat that much cake or cupcakes. So I got this aha moment when I was in finance. I was visiting a good friend in New York, and she was making cupcakes, and she was sifting powdered sugar, and it looked really therapeutic. I was having, a rough day at work. And so I asked her if I could sift the powdered sugar. And that was kind of like my aha moment. Came back to Chicago, started looking at different cupcake books and recipes, and just started, testing stuff. And, I'd been doing 6 years of hard work in finance and thought, maybe I just need like a couple months break or a half a year. So that was kind of like my aha moment when she was making cupcakes. So I never baked before then, before, that one time when she was baking cupcakes.
And that was you kind of had, I don't want to say epiphany. I don't want to use that word lightly, but it was kind of a moment where you're like, this makes me feel good. And maybe this makes me feel different than my work that I'm doing every day. And I want to do more of this. Yeah.
So when I came back to Chicago and I bought the books and I started testing recipes, I was like, this is kind of fun, like I'm making a lemon cake and what kind of frosting can I put on it? Maybe a blueberry buttercream versus just regular vanilla, or, just kind of mix matching flavors. I've always been a foodie, not a big sweets person, but, definitely like to try different recipes. And then, I thought, one of my good friends had gone to Le Cordon in their culinary program, and I knew they had a baking program. So I looked into it and I said, there are culinary or baking pastry schools in Chicago, but why not go to a different country and experience that? And Paris, of course, has, the best pastries. So I decided, I was 26, 27 at the time. And so I said, let me take a couple months break, go learn something different. And so I did that. And then when because I had 6 years of finance, I knew that if things didn't work out, I could always go back to the industry, And so I kind of gave myself a 1 year window of like either deciding maybe wanting to open a bakery. In the downtown Chicago, it's mostly chains. Even now, 13 years later, there's a lot of chains. So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a bakery, a local bakery? And even when I was working in finance, if it was anyone's birthday, we'd always just go out to eat. There was nowhere to get a cake unless you went to go to the grocery store, and no one plans ahead for that, So I also saw like an opportunity to open a bakery in the downtown area and focus on like corporate, catering. And then also with my finance degree, it definitely helped. When I was a stock analyst, I covered packaged food retail, food service. So I understood the financials and the margins of a food business.
And that didn't scare you off?
Again, I gave myself 1 year. I said, look, if worst comes to worst, I go back to finance. And if not, then, and I start my business and it is successful, then, good, so I kind of gave myself a 1 year window. And, of course, my parents being Asian American, my mother was like, what are you doing with this University of Chicago degree? But, after the first 6 months, after the first month when I opened, I actually got a call from the White House press secretary. Obama was signing an executive order to form the Women's Council. Mm-hmm. And so they wanted small business owners. And so they invited me to go to the White House and to see him sign the executive order. And I think that solidified my mom that I was an established business. Not that I, now 13 years, I mean, she's definitely excited about, how things have gone. But I think once I got invited to the White House within the first couple months of opening my business, she was just like, okay, I see this as a business, not as a hobby.
Now, did you start getting traction right away? Were you encouraged? Because that's nerve wracking. You're opening the doors, you're building out, you're doing all this investing in work to get it going, in the hopes that crowds are going to appear. Were you getting traction right away, or did you have to kind of build it over time?
So because, from when I returned back from pastry school to the time I opened was about 1.5 years, almost, or a little over 1.5 years. So it took a while to find a space. The first space fell through in lease negotiations. But I already had started developing the business and what I wanted to do. So I knew there were 2 sides of the business. There was a catering and delivery side of the business, and then there was also the retail front. And so I had, the catering and the delivery side and the products already done. I just didn't have a retail store. So while I looked for the second location, the first location, I just launched the delivery and catering side of the business while we built out the storefront. So I launched the catering delivery in October of 2007, and then the retail store opened January 5th of 2009. So by the time I opened my retail storefront, we already had a good following. And again, we're opening heart of recession, dead of Chicago winter, and the start of New Year's diets. But because I had that following for, a good year, we were successful. We sold out, and we were the first cupcake bakery in the downtown area. So it was a nice, refreshing for, people that worked in downtown.
Now, how has the business evolved with the advent of all these cooking shows and all these pastry shows and baking shows and social media? There's a lot of attention now to the art of this.
Yeah, people are always like, well, what makes you different from other cupcake bakeries? Yes, we bake on site, we bake fresh, we use natural ingredients, stuff that you can also find in your own pantry. We don't use hydrogenated oils or preservatives. So what makes us unique is also our design. Our Sugar Bliss Blossom is trademark. So it's a distinctive look. And I did that because I wanted to cater to corporate clients and not just have a generic swirl with a bunch of sprinkles. I wanted to be a more high-end cupcake bakery. And then since then, we've also, again, when I first started, we just did cupcakes, regular size and mini size. And since then, we've added gluten and vegan cupcakes, brownies and macaroons and K-pop. So we've added to our product line based on, customers, asking us what we can do. And, even with COVID, we've added now cookie decorating kits, gingerbread decorating kits. So we've added a lot of different, and we ship nationwide now. We used to ship a little bit. We did deliver in Chicago and surrounding suburbs, but we've shipped everywhere to Hawaii, East Coast, West Coast. So, we've definitely developed our brand and trying to make our brand nationwide.
So now, what percentage is kind of catering and for corporations, and how much is the retail store?
You mean now or before COVID?
So now, I guess both. I mean, at some point, COVID will go away, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely, because we are in like the heart of downtown Chicago. We're a block from Michigan Avenue. We're right near Millennium Park. I would say like 80% of us were, downtown corporate catering orders, people ordering, 5 dozen minis for an office meeting, our catering breakfast package with, coffee and orange juice. Now those meetings are not happening. So we are seeing a shift to everything being shipped. We had so many holiday orders where companies were ordering, anywhere from 30 boxes to almost over 100 boxes for employees for gifts instead of them having holiday parties. So we're definitely like a shipping center now, and shipping all of our packages now, since the walk-in traffic is definitely quieter as people are still working remotely.
Now, is that something you're going to see, post-pandemic? Then that's going to kind of be a nice add-on to the business.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I hate to use the word pivot, but, that's something we've had to do. And, of course, I've been doing this for 13 years. So I'm like, why didn't we ship? Like we could have shipped, and, had that additional revenue. But again, it's definitely something we will continue to do going forward. Because I still think that it's going to take a while for the corporate in downtown Chicago to come back. We're not going to see it. I don't think we're going to see. The earliest I think we would see maybe is summer, but that's kind of being hopeful.
Yeah, and I think this work from home thing is people are liking that. So I think it's going to be slow to get them back to the office.
Yes. I mean, I think corporations are rethinking about office leases and, work from home balance. And so I think it's something that will continue even after COVID. And
for you in your work, and with this pivot, I guess, so that now you have all these folks that can order it. You figured out how to ship it in a way that isn't, that the quality is still satisfactory, obviously. So how do you get the word out to let people know that in other markets that you're out there?
Obviously we have social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We do our own newsletter. We have our website. The great thing about shipping is, in every package we put our brochure, and then we put our holiday specials. And we're seeing a lot of corporate orders where somebody gets a package and they're like, well, this is great. I want to send it to my family. And then they order 5. And so it's kind of like a domino effect. And that's how it was, doing corporate business, is that, when an office manager will order, a couple dozen cupcakes for the office, there will probably be at least 1 to plus 2, 3 people that tried our cupcakes. They'll order it for their own personal, So it's just, word of mouth has been great, just getting our name out. But obviously any kind of, being on the radio, we've done things on TV, just any kind of digital marketing, advertising always helps us too.
Now, do you have any holiday specials you'd like to share?
Yeah, we have 3 holiday packages. We have a $25 that is the stocking stuffer. We have a $75, which is called Santa's Helper, and we have a $145, which is the Holly Jolly Christmas. And it includes an assortment of holiday cookies, candy cane cake pops, Rice Krispies treats, peppermint brownies, macaroons, cupcakes, chocolate covered pretzels. We can even customize and put, if it's a company, we can put your company logo on cookies that we've done. We also have DIY kits that we're shipping out that are cookies, cupcakes, and gingerbread house kits. So all of these things you can order on our website, sugarbliscakes.com, but you can also, and we ship nationwide.
Well, Teresa, congratulations on all the success. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
All right, that's sugarbliscakes.com. Thank you again for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on High Velocity Radio.